Hi, I'm Karen Rogers and I'm back to make video number 34. In today's video, I'm going to talk about taking the ACT test. So this video is mostly designed for seniors or people who are interested in taking ACT tests. What I'll do is I'll talk about the ACT test very briefly, and then I'll talk about the science portion. I'm mostly going to focus on taking the science test, and then I'll provide some tips and hints on how you can do your best taking the ACT. This is fun stuff, right? So let's go ahead and get started. I don't know that you can see my signs perfectly, but I'll talk about them as well. So here we go. All right, what is the ACT test? The ACT is it's an achievement test, and what it does is it's a way to select students. And so it's used to determine who gets into which university and which universities and colleges. It's also used to determine who gets scholarships. It is a test designed to select students. It's similar to the SAT test. I'd say the SAT tests are more popular on the coasts, and ACT is more popular in the middle of the United States, but college or seniors that are getting ready to go to college might take the ACT, they might take the SAT, they might take both. But today we'll talk just specifically about the ACT. All right, what's a good score on the ACT? The best score is a composite score of 36. The average score is 21. So if you want to know if you did well on the test, I suppose anything better than 21 is better than average, and less than 21 would be considered not so great. The ACT costs about $50 to take it. You can take it more than one time, but every time you take it, you're going to have to pay that $50. It can be a little bit more, it can be a little bit less. It just depends on how much you're taking it, but just that's an approximation. It is offered 6 times a year, and it is composed of a multiple choice test that has 4 parts: English, math, reading, and science, and they're in that order: English, math, reading, and science. That's the multiple choice test. It takes about 3 hours. There's also a writing portion, which is optional. I would recommend that you study and take the writing portion if you're going to do it, but you don't have to. The writing portion takes about 40 more minutes than the 3 hours for the rest of it. When you take it, it's on a Saturday morning, so prepare to spend, it starts at 8 o'clock, prepare to spend 3 hours, basically your entire Saturday morning taking the test at a given location, and they'll tell you when you register to take it. All right, that's the basic information about the ACT test. Now let's talk about the science portion. All right, the science portion is always the last one of the multiple choice test. It's the last portion when your brain is fried and you have 35 minutes to answer 40 questions that are all related to science. There are 7 passages, and each passage contains about 5 to 6 questions apiece. Now, the passages fall under 3 categories. Most of them deal with data representation. You'll get lots of charts and lots of graphs, and you're just asked questions about those charts and graphs. Another big portion are the science experiments, and they're very similar to the data questions because you'll have 2 science experiments, and they will give you the data, and you answer questions about the experiments and the data. There is one question that's called conflicting viewpoints, and that's the one where you have scientist A and scientist B, and they both have different ideas about a certain scientific idea. You don't have to worry about if they're right or wrong or if you agree or disagree. You mostly have to understand what each one is saying and answer questions based on that. Really, the science portion of the ACT is more of a reading test than anything else. It's not exactly a content test. You don't have to know, specific content items. It's more of a reason, here's the graph. Can you interpret the graph? Can you figure out the trend? And that's the majority. Now, I suppose that's good news, that you don't have to have a bunch of science content. But the more science classes that you have probably means you've had more experience reading graphs and interpreting data. And I think it would make it a little easier. But you don't have to worry about, oh, I forgot everything that I learned in biology. All right. So that's the information about the science portion of the test. Now, how do I get better at it? I'm freaked out. I don't know anything about the science test. I'm freaked out about the ACT. Well, let me give you some tips and hints that might make it a little easier. Number one, the best thing I can tell you to do to prepare for the ACT test is take a practice test. There are so many practice tests available for free online. Just type in ACT practice test and you'll get more than you can shake a stick at, than you can shake a number 2 pencil at, right? So take the practice test, and then what I would do is find out which ones you got incorrect and then figure out why it was incorrect. Most of the time, once you see the correct answer and you go back through it, you can figure out why that answer should have been the right answer. If you're not sure, you can always check with a science teacher or maybe somebody that can show you why that answer was correct. But you'll probably figure it out on your own if you just take the time to print the test, take it, practice, and do it. Look over your incorrect answers. There are some other tips and hints that might help. If you have the practice test will help you with the time, because a lot of times the test isn't, you can figure out the answers. It's just a matter of doing it in the short amount of time that they give you. Now, some people say go straight to the questions. Don't bother with all the reading of the passages first. Go straight to the questions and then find out what you need to find out to answer the question. That's always hard for me because I like to kind of look over what the question's about, then look at the questions and go back to the reading. And so that's a little bit your call, but if you're trying to save time, one way to do it is to skip the initial reading and go straight to the question. Another thing, if you're dealing with time issues, is if you're bogged down, if there's a question about electricity and you have no idea and you're finding that this passage is particularly difficult, you can skip it and move on to the next one. Now, when you take the ACT, you always get that 5 minutes warning. Like you've got 5 more minutes until the test ends. And so do your best on the ones you can, and if you're really bogged down by one, go back and get it at the end. And always guess, because you don't get penalized for guessing wrong. So a guess is a better opportunity to get it right than leaving it blank. All right, some other tips and hints. I would not get drunk the night before. I know seniors in high school don't drink, but if you thought about that, don't do it. You want a nice fresh brain when you take the test. You want to arrive early. You don't want to be stressed out about, oh my gosh, where's the parking? You want to get a good parking. You want to get there early so that you can relax and not be stressed, or worse yet, miss the test. So get there early. And then finally, don't let your self-worth be attached to a test score. I know that that's hard for a lot of seniors, especially the high-achieving seniors, to believe. They say, oh, I have to have a great ACT score so I can get into this college. My future and my life depends on it. But I can assure you that that's not the case. Please do not attach your self-worth or who you are to a standardized test score. And I will show you a picture of a science test. You can't see this very well, but this is what it looks like. Lots of charts and graphs. There's this initial reading. You look at the charts and graphs, and then you answer these questions that have to deal with the charts and graphs. That's all it is. 35 questions of, or no, 40 questions and 35 minutes of charts and graphs. Available online, check them out. Now I will finish today with a little commentary on standardized tests. Standardized tests like the ACT, the SAT, and even state tests are designed to select. They're designed to rank students. It's not necessarily, it does not, in my opinion, it doesn't judge the kid, it doesn't judge the teacher, and it's not a good indication of the school. The American public, I think, likes a scoreboard mentality, and oh boy, these ACT test scores or these state test scores determine how great a school is, but I don't think that's exactly accurate. I will argue that a standardized test really measures socioeconomic status. What it tells you is, did the kid have parents that went to college? Did their parents read? Did their parents push? Did they make their children's education a priority? Did they spend money on books and magazines and enrichment, summer enrichment camps? Because all in all, it has to do with your reading level. And I'm not going to trash the standardized tests. Well, kind of, I'm trashing the standardized tests because I think they just give such a limited picture. But if there is still some value and they're still important when it comes to selecting students. If you've got a huge batch of students and you want to pick, it's just one thing that might be an indicator of a student's success, or at least how well they do in school. Most high school seniors take the ACT test. I wish you all the best of luck, and if you want to practice, then the best thing you can do is get a practice exam, do at least one of them, because that way when you go in to take the test, if you've done a little bit of practice, you actually took the time to print out a test and take it and see how you did and correct your wrong answers, you'll be better off than if you didn't do that. And so you can walk in, take the test, and feel like, I did the best that I can to prepare for it, and the rest isn't up to me. The rest is whatever it is. But at least I did the best I could to prepare for it. Again, I wish you luck. I know how it can be a little stressful, and I love students, and I love to support you in doing the best that you can. Good luck on your ACTs. I'm Karen Rogers. I educate, motivate, and entertain. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.